Alright YouTube, so today's video I am making a something that's very special to my heart, and I wanted to make this video in a very different light, not these lights, mindset light. It's a topic that's been on my mind for, I don't know, good at least 7 to 8 years, ever since I first opened this channel, and never really, made this video. So I know I'm beating around the bush a little bit, but stay with me, especially the ones that have been here before. If you're new, stay with me. Trust me, I think you'll find this video pretty compelling and also very touching, because it actually will tell a story through the journey of how I got so attached to the Zeiss brand of lenses, and why Zeiss, hence the title of this video. 2023 and beyond, Zeiss is probably one of the best options that you will have, not just for the next 2 years, 3 years, for some of us for a lifetime. And what does that mean? So I had to move the mic because I ended up touching it. I am very passionate about this subject because it talks about a very long history, and I don't mean just buying it to compare it to like a Canon lens or Nikon lens or some other lens, and then trashing it and then saying, oh my god, it's so much money, and this one is sharper and this one. No, you don't buy Zeiss lenses to try to show people how sharp it is. Zeiss lenses to me are not so much just how can I say it? So let me clarify one thing. This video is being shot on the Sony A7R4. Yes, the 61 megapixel camera with the Zeiss Batis, which is 25 f2. Some of you have really asked me, what is that lens that you use every time I made a video with this lens? Because it has a very unique quality to it. And I'm going to share a little bit of the history of how we got here, and why I truly believe that the Sony system is very blessed and very fortunate to have some of the finest Zeiss glass ever was produced for that mirrorless lineup. They haven't done that for any other brand. None. No one. And you can argue all day long, mine is sharper, mine is better, whatever, but it's not a Zeiss. It doesn't have the Zeiss pop. You can even take your Zeiss Noct all day long. I mean, not Zeiss Noct, pretty good, see. The Nikon Noct, which is a 0.95 lens, when you really look at the transmission ratio of that lens, it's really not 0.95, it's closer to 1. So it's not a true 0.95, which is fine, no big deal. And every time I post something shot with this guy, the Otis, people freak out. And they don't freak out because the bokeh is just melting away. They freak out because the subject just looks surreal. It has a surreal look. So what am I talking about? Is this like fanboyism? Maybe. It's more than fanboyism. This is like a lifelong journey from the heart. That's something that money can't buy, guys. It just can't. Yes, I've got more expensive lenses all day long. Yes, you've seen how much stuff I have. But every time I shoot something with a Zeiss lens, it's just something special. It's just different. Yes, it's going to have chromatic aberration and all this nonsense. You can argue it all day long. trying to make an image perfect and technically perfect. But every single piece of glass that these guys have produced with this on there, this badge on there, it really means something very special. And that you will never know, right? And never understand unless you've owned these. And I don't mean like go to Lens Rentals and just rent it for a weekend. Own it and really understand what it is. They are so far ahead of anything else out there, technologically, optically, right? And how beautiful the images look. Overall image. That's what you buy a lens for, right? You don't buy a lens because, oh, it's the sharpest lens. So what? Nowadays, we buy lenses that are so sharp, we want to tone the damn thing down. It looks like crap. So, why Zeiss, right? And not something else. Let me explain something to you. When we were in the DSLR days, Canon, Nikon, they all made great cameras. Zeiss made the Otis lineup. You can see how big they are too. But now that we're actually in the DSLR realm, Sony sat down with Zeiss, or actually Zeiss sat down with Sony, or vice versa, and they produced these kind of things. This is the 55 1.8. We have YouTubers today that are absolute fanboys that go pick up some of the early glass that was made in many different places, which had the Sony badge on it and the Zeiss name on it. They were, for their time, they were great lenses. They probably don't hold up quite as well as today. Now, this particular one, this is the 55 1.8. This is highly regarded. This lens really started that journey down the mirrorless realm for Zeiss that really changed and shaped a lot of the things. This was one of the first Sony E-mount lenses to have a linear motor in it. And again, I'm not dogging any brand or anything like that. There's a reason why this lens costs $1,000. People are like, oh, it's so expensive. You can get a 51.8 and you can pay $298 and then go ahead. You won't have the Zeiss pop, and it's never gonna be a Zeiss. Well, yeah, I don't want it to be a Zeiss. I'm okay with the Sigma. I want to save some money in the other third party. Fine. This right here, the brand Zeiss, is probably one of the best third-party Rolls Royces of lenses that exist today. Right? You obviously have many cheap options that are pretty good. Optically, they've gotten very good, but they still don't have the Zeiss pop. No matter what you do, I don't care how much money you spend. And many of you have gone out there and spent all this money, and then they buy their first or second Zeiss lens, and they're sold. And they can't explain why. They're just sold. When they look at the images, they're like, I'm done. And that's what I'm talking about. When you get to that level within your photography and sort of your taste in the artistic characteristics of the lens, not character. Lenses don't have character. People are characters. Right? People play, or the subjects in front of your camera are the characters in this game of photography and filmmaking that you're doing. The lenses take the characteristics of the makers of this piece of glass or bunch of glass put together to tell a story that is true to life. What does that mean? True to life. As close as what the human eye sees. Color-wise, light-wise, all those things. So when you look at transmission value, the t-stop values of a lot of really nice Zeiss lenses, they're very close to their f-stop rating. F-stop and t-stops are two separate things. F-stop is just how much the aperture is opening. T-stop is how much light is actually transmitting from the front all the way to the sensor. So if it's a 1.8 lens, if the t-stop or T rating for the t-stop on this is f2.2, what that or T 2.2, sorry, that means that this lens, even though it's a 1.8 lens, it only has the light gathering ability of a 2.2, a lens with the f-stop of 2.2. That's very important to understand. A lot of people think they're buying a 1.2 and they're going to get 1.2 amount of light through that lens. Not true. That's when you need DxOMark to really sit down and look through every lens to figure out what you paid for. And the lenses that are, whatever their f-stop is, the widest open f-stop, so if it's 1.8 and if the transmission value is 1.8 on that lens, you're going to pay a pretty penny for that lens because optically it is built really well. That's one piece of the puzzle. The other piece of the puzzle, and I'm going to get to the Zeiss pop. What does that mean when people say the Zeiss pop? And I'm using a pop filter, and I'm pretty sure I'm still popping. People can't explain the Zeiss pop, that 3D look. What does that mean? So, what does that mean? How true to life are the colors that your eyes see? Transmit that and be captured onto the sensor of the camera. Every time you add an element of glass in here and or manipulate the elements and the configuration in here, it bends the light, and every light has a wavelength, and certain wavelengths bend depending on how it is. So that's where the coatings come in, the positioning of the lenses, the design of the lenses. This is a sonar design, right? That's what they use. They picked sonar for the 55. Ironically, on the Otis, it's also a 55. Sorry, 55 1.4 versus 1.8. They both are Zeiss lenses. The Otis is actually a distagon design. Why? Because they knew if they have to make a nearly perfect lens, perfect meaning no artificial decoration, right, caused from a lens that is not optically perfect, they would have to change the design of the lens. So the color rendering matters quite a bit. Again, I come back to why Zeiss. That Zeiss pop has to do with the micro contrast of the lens, which means the quality of every piece of glass in there is so pristine and such high quality that when you zoom in, you can actually see detail rather than see digital noise. The higher the micro contrast on your images, especially with black and whites and things like that, or even in color, the blacks in your photos will get as close to true black as possible. That's what the Otis mastered, that no one could touch till today. A lot of lenses have come that are really good optically, but the blacks, the way they come out on this, it's insane, and that blows people's minds when they see that. Is it a perfect lens? No. But it's one of the best produced things since sliced bread. Some of the elements inside the Otis are actually more expensive than gold. It's just how it is. But then you're paying $4,000 for that lens. So that's one piece of the puzzle. So all of that creates a color balance across the lenses. When I shoot this on the Sony system, if I were to put an adapter, this was made for the Canon system, but if I put an adapter, put this onto the Sony system, they're color balanced. What does that mean? I will get the same kind of reproduction of colors regardless of the family of Zeiss lens that I'm using. There is no brand on the planet that can do that today. These guys have done it. When you move to the Batis lineup, these were custom made from the ground up. This is the 85 1.8. I'm shooting on the 25. This lens had actually image stabilizing in there. This was the only lens on the Sony platform that actually had an image stabilizer at 85 millimeters. None of the Sony lenses have it. Even the G Master, they don't have it. Yes, it might be slightly faster, this, that, and the other. Same concept. Linear motors. Why do we use linear motors? Zeiss is very big into manual focusing. So when you're doing focus by wire, how true this is on focus by wire and how accurate it is and how close it is to this experience. If I turn this right here and I turn this, they're almost very similar. To do that, that is why they use a linear motor and not a stepper type of motor, which is usually cheaper. It increases the cost of these lenses. They're not cheap. But this set of 5 lenses that they have, so they have a 18, 25, 40, they have an 85 and a 135. I think the complete set is like $6,500, and they're matched sets. If you had the Loxia set, which is pretty much similar to this, smaller. These are autofocus, by the way. Batis was autofocus. Loxia is all manual focus. So if you shoot Loxia and then you put a Batis lens on the same Sony system and you start shooting like video or photos, your photos and video will be color matched. So when you're looking at it from a system perspective, it's incredible. A lot of people ask me, why do you shoot Sony? I only have the Sony 200 to 600 and this guy that has a Sony name, but it's a Zeiss lens. Everything else is Zeiss that I shoot. It's because of these lenses is why I shoot Sony, really. Because it's very special to me. That's how special Zeiss is to me. As much as I don't like some of the things Sony does, I love the system so much because of these lenses. If that doesn't speak volumes to you, I don't know what does. I'm sharing this from my heart. It's taken me many years to make this video to really build up the courage to do it. I'm pretty sure I'm going to catch a lot of hate. You know, Tamron this, Sigma that, blah, blah, blah. Save it. Save it. Save all of that for yourself. You can please yourself all you want. I'll take any Zeiss lens over it any day. That's just me. And cherish it for the next 40, 50 years. 50 years from now, this Otis is still going to be just as good as it is right now, as long as I don't drop it and break it and, you know, screw it up. You can't say that about your Canon and Nikon lenses. The older ones, yeah. The newer ones, I don't know. They're sharp, though. They're sharper than all of these, probably. But do they have that Zeiss look? They don't. That's what I'm after. I want something different. I want to be different. I don't want to be that same old YouTuber. And, you know, I've talked about Zeiss many times on my channel. I just never did it. Many people have taken things from this channel, tried to mimic sort of the concepts that I've put out there and taken it as their own, and which is fine. I don't have a problem with that. There are a lot of videos that I've actually made, never posted. And this video is very dear. So if you've been with me for a long time, you sort of know who I am and what I've done. This is the other one. This is the 35 f2 that they made in DSLR days. Solid metal housing. Solid metal. Solid piece of metal. Incredible piece of glass, even today. Here, let me see if I can zoom into it. If it'll pick me up. It's on the face tracking. Sorry. Maybe it might. Come on. There you go. That is the T-star coating. I'm going to go a little extreme for the next 2 minutes and actually share something with you. When you buy lenses of this caliber or any of these Zeiss lenses, my request to you is don't buy shitty filters. Don't do it. This is Zeiss filters. Yeah. I'm not obsessed. I know what I'm paying for. This particular one is a 77 millimeter or whatever it is. It actually goes in front of the Otis. Right here. Now, why would I take a $4,000 lens and put a shitty filter in front of it? It's not going to be made to the same quality as what's here. In addition to that, Zeiss lenses have the T-star coating, all of them, all the most modern ones. When you put a lens filter on top that does not have the T-star coating, you, my friends, now have actually changed the color renditioning quality of that lens, because that filter now is going to determine which wavelengths of color and light transmission is going to go through. What we talked about earlier. Hope this makes sense to you. So when you're looking to do this, I recommend that you spend the money and buy a Zeiss branded filter. Don't cheap out. These are not cheap. 100 to 150 bucks a pop sometimes. Sometimes they're on sale for 60, 70 bucks. You just have to look out for it. I feel totally confident and very excited that I have one of the best filters that I can put on here. It's made for lenses like the Otis. And it's made by Zeiss. So I know for sure I am not screwing up the image quality of what I just spent $4,000. It's almost like buying like a Ferrari and putting in freaking, cheap gas in there. Why would you do that? Makes no sense. Some people argue, just don't put a filter. Well, don't put a filter. You're better off not putting a filter if you're going to put a crappy one. If you're going to put one, put a nice one. Put something like this, buy a heliopan, those kind of things. If you're going to start looking at that, you'll start to see that those are the filters that are at a level which are way beyond your standard Hoya filters. Nothing wrong with Hoya. It's a good filter. Some of the B&W filters are really good. Stingray filters are incredible, but then you'll pay for that. I just went with Zeiss because of T-star coating. So I just wanted to show this to you guys because I want you to know that this is very near and dear to my heart. So with that, I'd like to announce the projects that I'm working on. I am working on, I don't want to call it a documentary, but more of a tribute to Zeiss and what Zeiss means to me in my life and what the different focal lengths do. They're all primes. None of them are zooms. So each prime has a very special place in my heart. And if you've never tried a Zeiss lens, I would encourage you to buy one and just use it for the next 6 months. And I guarantee you, once you buy one, slowly what you will find is you'll start to buy less and less of the other things, and you start to save more to buy the better Zeiss lenses. They truly are just incredibly special. I'm constantly on the hunt for the 28 millimeter 1.4 Otis. I will find one that's within the range on what I want to pay for it. I don't want to pay $4,500, $5,000 for it. It's one of the most incredible pieces of glass that they've ever produced. Anyway, this is the 55. I love the 55. It's awesome. Absolutely awesome. You can see, and another 55. So I love the focal length. Even my Canon 55 1.2 is a 55. So if that tells you something. With that, I know this video is a little bit longer, but I hope it actually shows you sort of the passion that I have for Zeiss and how it feeds into sort of what I do and what I like to do. And the videos on the projects that I'm talking about, video and photo. There's another photo project that I'm actually working on, and that's going to be on Washington, D.C. I am not going to reveal sort of that one just yet, what that is, but that's coming next. Let me work on the tribute to Zeiss, and then with that, I'm also, as a fast follow, start to work on very distinct videos of each one of these lenses on what they can do and how beautiful they can be. So to me, these lenses are not just something that sits in a bag. They really are an extension of an artistic tool for me, which allow me to create the magic that I keep asking each and every one of you to do. So I hope you're able to do the same. And hey, you might feel the same way about a Sigma lens or a Tamron lens. That's great. They just don't do the same thing for me. They might for you. If that's the case, I would love to hear your story. But with me, this story goes very deep, because with my dad, how much time he spent in Germany and also in Switzerland in his younger years, he used to always joke around, if Zeiss don't make it, he don't use it. You know, we joke around, but he even has Zeiss lenses, you know, in his eyeglasses, like I told you about mine. Anyway, we're very passionate. We are definitely a Zeiss family, and all the way. You don't have to even look around. I mean, even the Sony RX1R Mark II, I bought that camera for the Zeiss lens, the 35 f2. I was going to buy a Leica Q2. I bought the Sony because of that lens. So Zeiss, if you're watching this, you want to call me a fanboy, fine. Call me whatever you want. But the amount of passion that I have for your glass and what you do, I just salute you guys for the last over 100 years of putting just incredible pieces of glass optically, beautifully made. And every image that you shoot or post, it sets it apart from anything else that people see. I don't care how many fast, you can get a Canon 1.2, a Nikon 1.2, a 0.95, you can get it all. That's what makes Zeiss, Leica, Hasselblad, a lot of those kind of lenses very special, because they are in a league by themselves. But most people don't understand these lenses, so they sell them pennies on the dollar. So if you're about to dump your baddest lenses, other than the 25 and the 85, if you've got something you want to dump, send me an email. I would be more than happy to entertain sort of what you have and see if we can work something out. I'll be more than happy to take them off of you. I really am on a prowl to build almost like a legacy of Zeiss, and really start to build. I would love to build an actual book that I print with only Zeiss images in there, as a tribute to not just my work, but also a tribute to Carl Zeiss on the vision that he had. And every one of these products is so unique in its own way. If you've never owned a Zeiss lens, you will never understand anything that I'm saying right now. But if you've owned it, it will really hit home to the heart. So it took a lot to make this video. I hope you liked it. Like, subscribe, stay subscribed. There's a lot of things coming. I might not have, one video every single day, But whatever's going to come out is really going to really come from the heart, and it's going to have a very different message. And I will make it a point not to share my thoughts with a lot of other YouTubers, because I know they've taken those and started to make their own videos, and I was about to publish certain things and I stopped because they published literally what the conversation was, turned it into a video. So it's no point trying to duplicate the thing, which is fine. I just need to be a little careful there. So like, subscribe, be nice to each other, go out there, create your magic, and I will talk to you in the next one. Thank you.